I'm starting to spend some time each week with Clyde and the call center folks, basically returning calls for people that have questions about what's the best level of service for them. Now, obviously, if your concern is, I just don't want to spend money, then the free YouTube videos, it's clearly the way to go. There's 800 of them, lots of content. But then when you start thinking, well, I want to know my own status. I want to know do I have insulin resistance, my labs, do I have inflammation, do I have plaque? Then you start talking about paying for those and coordinating those activities. So that's one of the reasons why I say, look, if you're getting into that kind of evaluation, the best thing is the evaluation with the event, because you get all of that together at once. But you get a couple of other things too. Instead of between half an hour to 2 hours with me one-on-one, you get that. Plus, you get that 8-hour intensive boot camp type of experience with a small group of people, all of whom are focusing on this as well. We're going to show you some videos, what some other folks that have attended these events have said. We'll do that in just a minute. I'll basically give you some of their thoughts. Bob, in this video you'll hear, says you get the CIMT, the labs, and the info. Consider that. You don't have to pay extra for the CIMTs. The labs are included in the cost. The CIMT is included in the cost, and less than what you would pay if you paid for this all a la carte. Part of the reason is physicians are able to get better pricing in labs than patients can themselves. Tom and Kevin, you'll hear them say, well, look, it filled in the gaps. I thought I'd seen all the videos, but seeing the videos and then coming to a full day event with the doc, with a small group, it just connected so many dots. Lois made a great point. Her point is that, look, there's a community of people that think the way I do, that think that they can prolong their life, prolong the health of their life. And you don't have to be a doctor to understand all this stuff. Bruce makes the point that, you know what, that's true. But it's also great that there are a lot of doctors in the audience, doctors that are coming to this for their own health. And it's very nice if you're not a doc, you hear Brewer up there talking about some of this, and you just turn to your new doc friend and say, is that real? And they say, yeah, it is. You know, they give you some perspective on what we're learning in these courses. And I learn in these courses too, because people bring a lot of information. These are not folks that know nothing that come to this. Quite a few do come to this that come from zero. But we've also got folks that are very senior in this. Other physicians. At the last one, we had PhD from MIT. We had 3 dentists, 3 docs. You just get a lot of people that understand this stuff. But you also get people that don't know an artery from a vein. And so it's a very, very interesting community. Speaking of different people, Niall will mention Molokai. Molokai is a place in Hawaii. It used to be where they had a leper colony. But that's not what's interesting about Molokai or Niall. He's swimming that. It's a 38, 40-mile swim, something like that, in the ocean with great whites and all of that other stuff near Hawaii. He's a world-class athlete, and he's there to understand more about his body's metabolism and how he can generate the energy he needs. Gail and Doug, dentists, said, you know what? I'm learning this for my family. And by the way, it's the best event of its kind for patients and docs. Jeff brings up the point that, you know what? I thought I knew a lot of this stuff, and I thought I was good. Then I start learning some of this, and it's like a sucker punch. I found out a lot of things that I'm glad I learned. So I'm talking too much. Let's see the videos, what they have to say.
I have learned so much that I can't begin to explain it at the moment. I thought, what else can I learn, because I've been studying this stuff for the last couple of years. But this was very eye-opening, and I think I will benefit a lot from it. So everything here was excellent, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Because there's a combination of lay people and medical professionals in the audience, dentists and some PhD folks, and some other, maybe even a doctor or two. And I think what's beneficial for the layperson is we've watched all these videos, maybe like I did over the last year, and you have these dots of information. And when you come here, it helps you connect all those dots together, and it gives you a better depth of knowledge.
I was first introduced to Dr. Brewer through his YouTube channel, and I was just intrigued with all of the information that was being presented there. So I decided to come to the conference because I thought that there would be people that had shared similar things, with me, and that we could collaborate together here as a group. And that's why I came, and I have been just very fortunate and grateful that the people here, they're just, we now seem like friends and family, because we not only were teachers while we were here, we were also students, because we learned and we shared information with each other about our experiences. And I think that's been great, just having the open dialogue, and I've really enjoyed it.
I decided to come here because I had some vague concerns about my health. And what I thought was really attractive about coming here was the combination of getting the lab results as well as the CIMT, and being able to overlay that with 2 days of information. So for me, the labs was the starting point, and the information is what's going to allow me to kind of think about an action plan about how I want to react to the information I've gotten.
Well, it's great to be here. One of the reasons why I came is I'm a dentist, so I work with patients every day, and also I have come from a history of my heart disease in my family, and I have had a couple uncles recently who've had strokes, and I just feel like in the profession that I'm in, that I'm in a position where I can help other family members and the patients. I work in public health, so I am around a lot of patients who deal with diabetes, heart disease, periodontal disease, and I feel like prevention is so important in quality of life.
I just want to really commend you and Ford for what you're doing. If there's anybody out there that is thinking about taking a heart attack and stroke prevention course, there's only very few people that have done such a nice job with the YouTube channel, with the information, and I just highly recommend it. I highly recommend that people would come, and I think what you've done with this is amazing. I know there's others out there that are teaching and talking about heart attack and stroke prevention, but very few people are really trying to get people in a room, consumers in a room, and do it. So I want to commend you for that. It's a great course. Thanks for allowing me to be part of it and talk a little bit about how dentistry fits in. I really appreciate it. And I really hope people would come and search this out and take this course.
And then I always looked on PrevMed from back in when I was back in Israel, all the way through for about 7 months. And the conference came up, and I'm like, man, I would love to learn my labs and talk about this stuff. And on my end, I'm just a really aggressive listener, and I'm just taking it in and trying to develop an intuition on what buttons to push and what choices to make in my personal life to make Molokai happen and make that fuel source happen and be regularly ketonic. And it was an absolutely awesome weekend. And we're on the second day, so I'm excited.
I don't have some real obvious issues, but after I connected some of those dots, I do, that are less obvious, but definitely need correcting as it relates to things that are kind of under the radar, like insulin resistance, that, don't get picked up during your annual physical. You think you're just doing great. You get your report card, and it's just like, oh, I'm great, You're feeling all happy and boastful or whatever, and, and it just kind of comes like a sucker punch when you get a calcium score or something else. It's just like, what? So that's what it's doing for me, is just to educating me on all my blind spots.
Well, it's lived up to my expectations. I wanted to get specific questions answered. I watched a lot of Ford's videos online, and so I came in fairly well educated, but you learn a lot from the other people here, learning their stories and their results and their experience. So it was a filling in of a lot of holes and answering a lot of questions. Plus, you're able to interchange in a real dynamic way with Dr. Brewer. So that's a big plus as well. So I thought it was very worthwhile, and definitely in terms of trying to make sure that you take care of any issues you're having with cardiovascular disease or whatever it is you're attending for. It was it sort of closed a lot of circles for me.
So if you're still with us, as you can see, there's a lot of advantages to just taking a day, coming to an event, getting an immersive experience, meeting a community of other people that understand the value of adding a decade to their life, a healthy decade, by the way, and getting it all done. Thank you for your interest.